Hey guys, welcome to Cars, Computers, and Canines. Today we're going to be installing a toilet to replace my leaky one. Let's get started. Okay, so here we have my old toilet. It is your typical $99 Home Depot special with the little dual, one for number 2 and one for number 1 flush valve. The problem is it leaks profusely inside. Now you may think to yourself, well, it's just a toilet. Buy another $100 toilet, throw it in there, and call it a day. When you think about it, your toilet is used quite a bit. Almost every day for some people. If you're spending so much time on the toilet, you might as well get one that's nice and comfortable. So that's what I did. So straight from Amazon, I ordered me a TOTO Drake Tornado Flush Toilet. From everything I've read online, this is like the Cadillac of toilets. It's got a fancy flush system that's supposed to, flush 1,000 golf balls or however much they say. You wouldn't believe the amount of stuff you can find about toilet science on the internet. But I wanted something that was comfortable, so I got an elongated bowl, which instead of being round, it's a little bit of an oval for a bigger space, more comfortable place to sit down. And I ordered it as standard height. Now this differs from the chair height, or some call it the comfort height, because it encourages a more natural seating position for when you're going number 2. So I've got my tools ready, and I've also got a towel. It's always good when you're working with plumbing to have a towel handy. So first we got to start with taking the old toilet out. First thing we want to do is we want to empty the toilet, and we do that by closing the water valve and then flushing the toilet. The water line is really the only thing connecting the toilet to the wall. Now, they usually tell you, oh, you need to buy a new one of these, but if it's in good condition, this isn't all chewed up or anything, it's probably fine. Next thing is to unbolt this from the floor, and on either side, sometimes they're covered by little white caps, but you're going to undo those 2 bolts there. You do want to make sure you get new hardware, because most of the time the old hardware is all messed up and stripped and horrible. Okay, idea number 1 is I'm going to get that toilet onto this hand cart. If you had a friend or something, you could probably just, pick it up together, but I don't, so this is my best idea. There's a minimal loss of water onto the floor, and it's on the hand cart now, so I'm going to get this out of here. In hindsight, the better idea would have been a shop vac to suck the water out before I moved this. Daddy made a mess. Now he's got a mop. Don't be an idiot like me. Get you a shop vac. Get you out the bowl first. Don't worry, I'll just mop the whole house. That's no big deal.
2 hours later.
Alright, well, predictably, that was a giant mess, but now we can move on to getting the toilet installed. So first, we want to take out this old wax ring. So now this is actually going to use the same thing that I'm going to use on the new toilet, which is basically it's a replacement for our traditional wax ring that doesn't use wax. We've got our better than wax ring seal thing. I've heard really good things about this online. I used it before at my old house. Some people say it's horrible and you should just use a wax ring. The good thing about this is if you're an amateur like me, Wax ring is you set it down and that's it. You can't move it. So if you put it in the wrong place, you just ruined your wax ring and you got to buy it, put in a new one, and it's a huge mess. This, if you don't put it in the right way, you can pick it up and move it and adjust it and get it to exactly where you need it. So definitely recommend this better than wax thing. It also comes with all the hardware you need. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is on this gross, probably gross looking hole you now have in the floor, we got to install our bolts to hold down the toilet. Now these just have kind of an oval end and they go in like so. There's a little keyhole here and then you kind of put it underneath that piece there. Now if this is really messed up and there's no way that you can get the bolt to kind of key in and be held in place, you may need to actually just call a plumber or somebody to get you a new one of these. But mine are holding okay. Once you kind of have them in the position, you take these plastic pieces and this helps hold these bolts upright. So that way they're not kind of leaning over and flopping around while you're trying to move your heavy toilet base around. They need to be roughly opposite each other and parallel with the rear wall. According to the instructions, you want to measure your flange to see if it's above width, flush, or below the floor. Now mine is just slightly above the floor, so I can just use this without the spacer, which is consistent with what was there before, just to kind of check yourself. So we'll just kind of slide this over here. Now the thing about this is it doesn't have to be an exact seal because the water from the toilet is just going to shoot straight down. The idea is to make sure it doesn't seep out to the sides. So there's a little flap that goes down below, so no matter how much you're flushing down there, as long as it doesn't back up, it won't leak out the sides. Alright, now for the slightly heavy part. We're going to take the base of the toilet and put it on the holes. So on either side of the toilet there are these holes, and it gives you a lot of wiggle room, so if you need help, you probably want a friend to help you, but if you're fairly strong, you can probably lift the whole base of the toilet by yourself. Since we're not using a traditional wax ring, if I don't get it quite right the first time, I can just kind of adjust and try again. Let's see where the holes are going to be. I got that one lined up. I just need to line that one up right there. And the washer. And the nut. And if you have a really good level floor, the toilet shouldn't move that much, if at all. If you've got an unlevel floor like I do, it might move around a lot. Still wiggling around just a little bit. But again, we're going to try to fix that with the shims. Okay, so that actually, as I tightened it down, this is pretty solid. We're going to wait. We're going to put the back of the toilet on first and set that up before we do the shims and see. We'll test it by sitting on it to just see how much it moves and go from there. Alright, so now it's time to install the back of the toilet. That hole right there, there's going to be a little rubber washer thing. And then we've got the two mounting bolts there. So we'll follow the manual, get the back of the toilet in there. Put this little rubber gasket seal thing, make sure that it's uniformly in place. We got these rubber washers. We're going to put them on the bolts. The bottom here first. So after we put these bolts in, we actually need to put on metal washers and nuts. So the manual says get these finger tight and add an additional half turn. Now these especially you don't want to tighten a ton. You know, you don't strip bolts here, you just crack porcelain and then you ruin your toilet. So now it says there should be 3 points of contact when this is tightened down. 1 point here, 1 point here, and then the center of the back. So we want it to be just snug. and where it's contacted. If we tighten it too tight, again, you can crack that porcelain, so be very careful with what you're doing. Okay, so right there, I don't know if you can see this real well, but you've got your two contact points in the front and the third one in the back. If you rock it a little bit, you'll see that it's also there. Last thing, which I'm kind of afraid of, is are we level? No, we're not. Now if you have a slab foundation, this may not be a problem for you, but since I'm pier and beam, you want this level so that it flushes right. Now instead of using these plastic shims that were already under the toilet, I'm actually going to use wood shims, because wood you can just break off once you've added enough shim underneath here. So I'm going to put these right there, get this loosened up a little bit. Now we're level there. I need a little bit more here. Level there. Alright, so now we got everything installed. It's time to turn on the water and let the bowl fill up. Thankfully it comes with all the innards installed already. Let's turn on the water. Splatters a little bit when it's empty, but you're looking for leaks up around here where you hook the water up and from in between the bowl. I don't see anything. Alright, bowls flush is good. Alright, now let's see the tornado flush. Wow. How fancy. Alright, let's try to hold it down to get everything. Oh yeah, that's a pretty powerful and convincing flush. One thing to keep in mind is that this doesn't come with a toilet seat. So make sure you get a toilet seat when you order your toilet. So the seat's pretty straightforward. You put these rubber anti-skid plates so that the toilet seat doesn't move around in here, and then these plastic bolts go in, and then the nuts go in at the bottom, and you can tighten the plastic bolts with a flathead. Use our flathead screwdriver to tighten those. You don't have to go crazy, but you do want it to be tight enough to where it won't move around. Alright, cut these shims. One thing you can do, take a seat down, move around a little bit, make sure it doesn't feel like it's going to tip or anything. And there you have it, our TOTO toilet installed, leveled, and ready to use. So as for the performance of the toilet, I'll let you know down in the description how it flushes, but it's supposed to be pretty strong flush. But last thing really I just need to do is caulk the bottom of the toilet rim, or the toilet bowl, and it'll be all set to go. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time.